like I don't do this a whole lot anymore, you guys. Just because I've become a bit of a hermit and been doing this a long time. So um, there's reasons why I'm not as like public anymore, if you will. But I believe in what the high level community at large is doing, and Sam and I share the same philosophy, put it that way. And we're also fathers, and we're also, entrepreneurs and husbands and all that good stuff. So we have a lot in common, but we share the same philosophies on how you can get more leverage in your life using these tools. And the platform you built certainly is a big piece of that. I wish I would have had it uh, all those years ago when I first started. I wish High Level was there when I first started. For those of you that don't know, I helped High Level launch out of beta, and my Scipio bill at the time was $44,000 a month because we were helping all these gym owners text message people to reactivate them and to lead nurture them to get, so that it would go like we would nurture the leads through text once they opted in. And then we'd nurture them to the point of sale, which means for gym, it's like, you want them to show up at the place of business. And then we would also reactivate people through SMS. It was our best strategy, database reactivation, right? So when Robin came to, actually did not know Sean at the time. I knew Robin from agency world stuff, and we were friends. And he said, "Hey, I put together this beta thing with a couple other guys. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I'm like, "Well, what's it do?" He said, "Well, it's got an agency dashboard and it does two-way SMS." And I'm like, "Stop right there. How much is it?" And he goes, "It's $300 a month unlimited." I'm like, "First of all, you're undercharging. Second of all, you're telling me I can I could save $44,000 a month minus 300 bucks." And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "So as many people as I want to add on top of that, you're not going to charge me a dime more." And he's like, "Well, usage costs, but that's it." And I was like, "Bro, I need to tell everybody about this." So 3 weeks later, I had this workshop helping agency owners, training them up, showing them our systems and processes. Sean and Robin come there. There was 40-ish people there between the virtual folks and the in-person folks. Every single agency owner there bought. So, you guys, for those of you who have High Level, you have a number. The guy who bought the first one is Joe Rare, and he has 00001. He's the first customer of High Level, right? So, I've had the privilege of both knowing how to do it the old way, quote unquote, and now that you guys have it better than ever, in my opinion, or we have it better than ever, I should say, with all these tools, all this leverage. And so I'm passionate about teaching people that because there's no longer a need to trade your time for money with these tools that are available to us. And Sam and I talk a lot about that. Like, it's way more important for me to be a good dad to my kids. My kids are 10, 8, and 6. So my window of them still liking me and wanting to hang out with me is coming to a screeching halt soon. Okay. Like once they hit about 12, it's over. So I'm sorry. I love you guys. I love business. I love Sam, but I don't want to be fucking doing this all day anymore. Okay. Like that's the reason why I'm not as public. I'm actually hanging out with my kids. I really love doing cool things with my kids. And getting to be a kid myself again is, part of that. Right. So if you guys are wondering kind of like, why am I here? What am I passionate about? Why do I have so much in common with Sam? That's it, guys. Like you can find great financial and personal freedom by escaping from what I would call the rat race, right? And you can be in the rat race in your own business. I see plenty of that because people are still trading money for time, or you can be in the rat race working for someone else. And if you're okay with that, cool. But for me, I needed to break free from that in order to have the lifestyle that I wanted in order to be a good father. That was my whole drive for doing this thing, right? So that's what I'm passionate about, and the reason why I've done the things that I've done with High Level and as their top grossing affiliate. I've been very choosy and picky about what I teach, what tools I recommend, why, all that good stuff, right? Because there's too many options now. It's not, the options are not the problem anymore, right? It's what do you do with the damn thing so you can get closer to what you want. For me, I just told you guys what I wanted. That's probably different for each one of you, or it could be the same. I don't know. But whatever it is for you, you know, like my dad was, and all of the men in my life growing up were contractors. This is a tool that's like going from using a hammer building fences to using a nail gun building fences. You can build infinitely more fences with a nail gun than you can with a hammer. Okay.
Okay.
Just a better tool, right? So that's what I'm passionate about helping people do. Is like, okay, you decided to do this for whatever reason, but you want something better from it. That's why you're doing it. So how do we make that process as efficient as possible? How do we get you closer to what you want quicker using this as the vehicle, right? Well, in my opinion, this tool is one of those tools to help you get there, right? So that's is that a good primer to get going?
It's
I
a
want to help
great
you,
primer to
but I
get
want you
going.
guys to understand where it's coming from too. Does that make sense?
It's a great primer to get going.
Yep.
And one thing before we get going, and Rob, you kind of guide me through how you want to do this. We're going to go through whatever parts of your library you want to go through. I'll walk everybody through that.
Yep.
But the model that Rob is talking about is absolutely right. You got to productize the thing that you're doing, right? But
Yeah.
not all models are created equal, and not all niches are created equal.
Right.
In our first full run year of UpHex to the high level community, we took one of three of the SaaSpreneur awards. So what we're talking about here, and what Rob is going to deliver on a silver platter, is one of the tools that you're going to need in your set of tools to accomplish that thing, right? So we're going to give those to you, but we're also going to pull back, the anatomy of an ad is kind of what I was thinking, Rob. I think that's what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll give you the shortcut, but we'll also teach you the skill so you can go out and do it for anything, anytime,
Exactly.
anywhere, right?
Exactly. All right. Let me go ahead and I'll start sharing the screen,
Real
Rob.
quick before Sam, before you dive in, how many of you guys are already using UpHex and how many of you have not? Just real quick, just drop a one in the comments. There's only a handful of you guys with the camera on. Maybe in the chat, just drop a one if you've already signed up and a two if you have not for some reason.
It's
Okay.
okay to write two, by the way.
Yeah, it's totally okay to. I just want to know so what we spend our time on. I want to be helpful and make sure everybody gets some kind of value before we leave here, right? Okay, cool. So most of you have, some of you have not. Okay, sweet. All right, so my goal, let's do this because I think what Christy wrote is good. Tried it, pause ads and UpHex for now. Okay, cool. So when does it become a no-brainer to use a tool like UpHex? Well, when your clients are paying for it, not you, then you keep it on forever, right? So let me show you a really practical way that you can make money using UpHex. That way we remove the issue of needing to pause it into the future. I'll show you guys how we structured it, helping our 535 gym locations. I'll show you the different appointment types for things like home services and professional services and things like that. So we'll cover that base too. So it's like, again, you can apply this to any industry, any niche, any vertical. And then I think that it's important to show you guys what I've found be the linchpins for success for I've trained over 40,000 agency owners now. And so with regards to ads, what are the things that really make this a difference maker so you guys can have a leveraged offering where you're making plenty of money, not losing your damn mind, not trading your time for money. You can choose your clients, they're not choosing you, all that good stuff. Does that sound good? I know it's a bit of a lot to cover, but I'm very conceptual and practical. I like to joke that I'm a caveman, so I have no fancy slide deck for you. Sorry, if that's what you're expecting. I cuss a lot. I just give it straight to you. So if you don't like that style, take it or leave it is all I
Love
have
it.
to say about that.
I leave it.
But yeah,
I leave it.
let's get right into it, Sam, if you're ready, man.
I'm ready, buddy. All right, you guys, give me one in the chat if you guys are psyched and ready to go. And if you're very grateful to Rob for showing up and doing this with us today. All right.
All right, cool. So, and this is as far as like learning styles go, guys. I'm very high on implementation because the way that most people learn the most is by implementing this stuff. So if there's one thing that I want for you to do with this stuff by giving it to Sam is just use the damn things. Like at least run a test. Just try to run it once. Okay. Make that your goal. Because again, even just looking at the screen, you're probably like, which option do I choose? The point isn't to choose the right option. The point is to choose an option and run with it.
Yeah.
That makes sense to everybody? Because
Sorry about the AI image
once you
generator.
get momentum, like good things are going to happen, right? You can always go back. These templates aren't going anywhere, right? So if there's one thing that I want you to take out of this, after, because Sam and I will get jaw jacking here in a minute, and it'll be hard to stop us. But so that's the goal, right? Now you have these things. Well, what am I supposed to do with it? It's not to become an expert in all these niches. It's not to try them all. It's like to try one and get it out there in the marketplace and test it and see how it works. That's your goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Sam. Didn't mean to cut you
All
off.
right. So caveat. AI is not quite there with image renderings. I told Jake, I'm like, dude, that does not look like Rob at all.
Oh, no.
But it's a bald guy with a beard.
Hey, I'll take it. He looks better than I do. Let's go.
We'll tune it up. We'll make it more in your likeness. All right. It's structured the way, and by the way, I just went in and UpHex, man, Rob already had these things dialed in, loaded in. We just went in, clicked on them, and all of a sudden, here they are. All right. Let me go ahead.
Okay,
and move.
so what are we looking at here? Guys, we actually helped, I used to have a really big coaching program. Now it's very small and selective. You can still get access to, I have like a membership site now, excuse me, with all of our IP and all the trainings I've ever done, all that stuff for really low price. So, but I used to have a really big, very hands-on coaching program where I help people like in almost every detail of their agency do this stuff. Okay. And after doing that for 5 years, it's like, I can't continue to help that volume of people for this long without experiencing burnout. And so I'm making it more available to more people at a lower price, but there's only so much of me to go around, right? Does that make sense to everybody? So when I started helping high level, we had people coming in from all different niches in my coaching program. And what we do is say, okay, this week we're going to focus on financial services. So who's got a client in that or an offer that you want, us to help you write out, your ad, landing page, DR script, all that stuff. We'd sit there on a live coaching call and do it all for them so that they could go out and test it in the real world, report back how it worked, whether it worked or not. So the reason why I'm telling you guys all that cool stuff is these have already been figured out for you. So these are all live offers that at some point in time worked out there in a live setting, meaning this ad has been run before. It's been approved by Facebook. There's been ad spend behind it. There was a real client behind it getting real results from it from a real agency owner just like you. Does that make sense?
It's amazing.
So this is not theory. It's not, it was theory, but then we had them run it and it either didn't work or it didn't. And the ones that worked were the only ones that ended up in this library. Does that make sense, you guys?
Love it.
All right. So that's
All
what
right.
we're looking at.
Is there anyone in particular, Rob, that you want to go into?
So to me, there's 3 different appointment types, right? So in my opinion, this is important to understand. This is just a good skill to build if you're working with local businesses or any business in particular. Let's say even like online coaches, like the ClickFunnels type crowd, you have to understand their appointment type and their sales type to really nail it with this stuff. Okay. So how many of you guys already know this? Like type 1, if you already know this stuff. Like, are you guys experienced enough to already know that type of thing? Is my question.
And two, if you don't. 2, that's fine. Well,
Yeah, 2 if you don't, and it's okay if you don't. I just want to know how much time to spend on it.
1-ish. 2.
All right. Okay, cool. So quick examples. So in a gym, their sales type is in person at the brick and mortar business, right? They make very few sales. Some gyms do that, but it's like the vast majority of gyms, they sell in person at the front desk kiosks at their gym, right? That's like almost all gyms. So that appointment type is an in-person appointment type. When you run an ad and book the appointment is to show up where, guys?
Yes.
It's for them to drive their ass to the gym, right? That's the appointment. Hey, you're going to drive your butt here and show up at some point, right? Yes. So that's one type. That's called like a, like a brick and mortar. It's your typical brick and mortar thing. Okay. So that can be a lot of different types of businesses. That can be an iPhone repair shop, right? That can be, it's like wherever the point of sale is the sales environment in, like at the entrepreneur's place of business, that's one type of appointment. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
So there's a ton of different niches that fit into that. But for example, like real estate, very few sales happen at the point of sale for real estate offices. That is not their appointment type. Okay. They have what's more typical is a phone-based appointment type, right? Professional services, CPAs. My CPAs are in another state. I've never met them in person, right? That is a phone call based appointment. If you're working with coaches and consultants, that's pretty much the only sales environment they have, is to book a call and show up for that call. Could be Zoom, phone call, whatever. Does that make sense? So that's appointment type 2. Again, lots of different niches. Whoa, the heck.
That was
Sorry.
amazing.
Yeah,
I don't know what
I
that
just
was.
had a
That was
call
awesome.
with
Peace,
remember
brother.
Fred?
Like
The guy who
that's so weird. Okay, cool. So does anybody know what the third one is? Think about your typical local business. You guys have all enjoyed this if you own a home, for sure. And some of you who rent. What's the third appointment type? The sales environment happens at the customer's house.
In
In
the
home, yes,
Yeah.
homeowner. Like, so any type of home services, which is a huge segment of the marketplace. So your plumbers, your roofers, your electricians. We just had our fence done. We didn't get a quote from the guy over the phone. We didn't go to his office, if they even have one. Usually it's their truck. He drove to our house and he gave me a quote, and I was standing in my own driveway or at my front doorstep. Make sense?
Interesting.
So
I've
those
been
are
doing
the
this
three
for a
major
decade,
appointment
and I've
types.
never made this distinction, by the way.
Yeah.
And I can, as you're doing this, I'm like, this is actually a really important distinction, because when you're writing the ad, when
Yeah.
you're making your offer, your proposition, this is incredible. The more clear you can be
Yes.
on how it works is
Yes.
going to motivate that person on whether or not to click.
Yes.
Genius.
This is where most marketers get this wrong, is they don't walk it back out from the inside out, guys, right? And
Right.
when you forget that, either your campaign will suffer,
or
or the lead nurturing that has to occur for your client to get the sale, which is what they really want. Let's be honest. They don't care about how good of a marketer you are, right? They care about, getting the results that they're, I don't care what you promise. They want sales from what you're doing. Okay. Even if they never say that, that's what they want. So you have to do your best to not wreck their operations by changing the way that they should be selling. That is a
make
very
one?
difficult thing to get
Yeah.
somebody to do. Say, hey, change. I know you're used to selling at the front doorstep, but can you just sell from the phone from now on? That'd be awesome, because I'm going to book calls for you.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Can I make
Correct
one
answer is
really
no.
important distinction here?
Huh?
And because Jeff said online. Now, the preface to Robb's 3 categories was, we're working with local businesses, and you have to dance to the rhythm of their beat. Local businesses are not closing sales online. I mean, you might have coaching programs or whatever doing that.
Well, if you mean online, like they're paying online without you ever talking to them, that is not, if you guys are working with it, that's called e-commerce, and that's a completely different animal. Okay.
Yes.
That's what that is. The behavior is different. The psychology is different. How you get them to pay without talking to someone, that whole thing is different. So that's a whole other beast, y'all, just to be super clear. Okay.
Agreed.
But if you are on a Zoom with someone, that's a phone sales appointment. Just think of it that way. If that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Same thing.
If you're trying to get a webinar registrant or something, that's a whole different beast. Okay. So I'm talking about how you guys can help small businesses, not, some kid who's never done a webinar before.
Yeah.
Right. Or some author who thinks that just because he threw together a webinar, this is going to magically work out for him. That happens all the time. Like, you guys, it's like, hey, this person wants to throw money at me. Like, I just say no to those people. Right. The reason why I like working with local businesses is because you guys might cringe. Okay. But this is a massive industry in the US. They don't get that far without investing hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars into their business at some point, even if they inherited it like as a family business, they're serious about this business, guys, or else the brick and mortar wouldn't exist. All right, they've gotten that far. It's almost like a sunk cost mindset, right? Well, we got to do something to stay competitive, right? A lot of folks online, they're a little bit too wishy-washy for my taste, but whatever. Okay. So appointment types that you're dealing with, most small businesses, and you can include like coaches and consultants in this thing, but it's the appointment type is the phone call, Zoom, whatever. Okay. So if you're running your own agency and you do phone sales, which most of us do, that's your appointment type is phone call. Okay. So why don't you click into like the home services campaigns? This is usually where I find people, the light bulb kind of comes on for folks. So you can see that the sales rep is in the yard with the person, right? So hopefully some light bulbs are going off. Raise your hand if you fear the surprise cost for your home air conditioning breaking. As a homeowner, I can tell you that it's like 12 grand to have this happen. And I've had more than my fair share of that happening to me. It sucks. It's like a $12,000 expense don't want out of it. And so you're getting somebody to raise their hand in these ads, right? But in no way, shape, or form are we trying to reinvent the sales process. So all these ads we're going to get reinforced. There's going to be congruency at every step. So the ad is going to talk about the sales or infer the sales process. The lead nurturing is going to reconfirm that and be as clear as the ad was. And then when the sales process happens, that needs to be congruent with what they saw in the first two steps. That's when you have an ad that you can run for a very long time with very happy clients that you set up once and you get paid money every month to do it. Okay.
Love it.
So ready? I know some of these look a little bit generic, guys, but we tried a bunch of these. Okay. And getting it approved by Facebook is the other battle. So, you don't always get to publish what you want with Facebook. It has to pass through the hoops, right?
Yep.
So these pass and they're pretty good. So like if you run these in a local marketplace, they're gonna get you a decent result right out the gate, is what I'm telling you, right?
I
But
mean, some big, just out of the gate, some huge value. If you're not an UpHex user, by the way, Rob, do you have your affiliate link for UpHex handy?
yeah, I do.
Okay, throw that in the chat. If you're not an UpHex user already, just a couple of like tidbits. Okay, we do have roofing ads and things like that in the UpHex library. However, when we look at something like roofing, the average fee, depending on where you're at, you're talking like 10, 15, $20,000. Solar, okay? These are solar calculator. Well, I love, this is a self-discovery offer. I love these,
Yeah,
right?
those are
These,
good.
yeah, these right here out of the box. All right, guys, let's make sure you
Mute
mute,
yourselves.
please.
Yeah.
Let's everybody just take 1 second, make sure you're muted. Out of the gate, you've got some high ticket agency stuff here. Not saying you have to choose high ticket, right? But contractor niches, the reason they're so fun to be in is because of the case value, right? And HVAC is popular, flooring, these are all really fantastic, fantastic niches and great proven calls to action. I love it.
So can you guys see how this is congruent with our sales process? It should be plain as day now, right?
I love that.
Okay, cool. So that's, these are the things that provide longevity. Okay, so let's just as an example, okay, and this is the other thing that people do that I think is crazy is they feel like they need to recreate an offer that the market is already used to and willing to take up. So, get a free quote for your solar roof. That is an offer. A lot of people are like, well, that's what everyone else is running. But what else are you going to do offer wise? You can do a discount, right? You can do like some sort of credit, right? So like a federal credit, something like that.
Can you hear it?
You can do a quiz. It's just like there's only so many things you can do, but the market is used to a free quote. So like if you're like, this isn't fancy enough for me, you're asking to retrain the audience to want something that they already say yes to wanting now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like when the fence guy came over to my house, I expected a free quote. I would have thought it was weird if he didn't do that. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
So don't put so much pressure on yourself. I'm going to show you an easy way to win over all the other competition. I guarantee you they're not doing this next step, and that will give you plenty of juice to run this thing forever. Okay?
Love it.
That makes sense to you guys? Like, don't feel this pressure to become it's like a Mad Men, level genius marketer here. We're not all Billie Jean Shaw the third. Okay? I'm certainly not. I learned all this stuff from him. All right. So let's just really quickly go through the other appointment types, and I'll show you guys what makes the next step so powerful in the way that we won. So when we got 535 locations for gyms, we were charging, at the end, we were charging 6 to 10 grand up front for 3 months worth of service and getting it all day.
Do we want to do
Estate.
real estate, since that would be over the phone?
Oh, that'd be fine. Yeah, just pick any other different appointment type. So we never ran a custom ad in my fitness agency, not a single time. We found a formula that worked, and everybody got the same ad unless we ran it and it didn't work. Then we would create something custom, put it that way. But we never started it off with a custom ad because we just knew it worked, okay, for a specific type of gym. So does anybody know how realtors sell or mortgage folks sell? Anybody?
Will
Type
says
in, that wasn't obvious. Can anybody type it in? Over the phone, yes. Mortgage quotes happen over the phone. The initial conversation for a realtor is not in person. It starts over the phone. Okay. So basically, this is the introduction that people are used to, right? So that's a different appointment type than at home, right? It's over the phone. Cool. Let's go to the brick and mortar one, the one where it happens at the place of business. So you can pick gyms or whatever, automotive, it doesn't matter.
this
So
was your bread and butter.
Yeah, so these were the ads that we ran 535 times for some of the biggest franchises in the world. We helped CKO Kickboxing, 9 Round, F45, any studio segment gym. We pretty much helped, except for Orange Theory. We had some Orange Theories, but they became too corporate. And they took everything in house, so we weren't an approved vendor for them. But everybody else, like Cycle Bar, my old business partner now owns several bar studios and works with the district manager as a sales, like he's like the director of sales or something like that now. So all these worked, okay, but all these drive them, the person using a specific offer. It was a free 10-day pass. And that free 10-day pass was congruent with the lead nurturing that happened in the next step and the sales conversation that happened at the place of business. So does everybody understand the 3 appointment types and the differences between what the sales process is for each of these? You guys are going to get all these ads, by the way. I don't know is anyone excited about that? Because no one's really said.
Throw one in the chat if you guys are psyched.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. I mean, if you don't want them, I can take them back.
Don't take it back, but I'm excited. I'm excited.
Okay, cool. So now you have all these ads. Let's say someone clicks on it. What is the next step? And I'm going to force you guys to go through the pain of talking, because this is, again, I'm all about doing, not a bunch of theory, not having you leave, going, I'll do this later. Okay. But I'm going to ask you to think in order for you to be inspired to do that. So let's work through this together. What happens after the person clicks and opts in to the offer? So they go, yes, I click the ad. Yes, I want that. I fill it in. What happens next? Anybody? Bueller.
Pick up the phone, instant text, automated SMS and call.
Boom. Okay, so you guys would be shocked. Still to this day, you guys are a smart group. You're smarter than most. Still to this day, almost no small business does this.
Yeah.
What you guys know how to do. And therein lies the real leverage. How many of you guys have ever heard, oh, I'm just going to have my nephew's cousins, basketball friends run my business's Facebook ads?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like small businesses know that it's getting easier every day to run ads. Okay. Like, why do they need you? Well, kind of like the true answer is they don't. They could just rip an ad that's already working. This is why I love UpHex so much. You guys have this library. It's like, hey, we have library of proven ads. Go ahead and run your ads on your own, or have your nephew's cousin's uncle click the fucking buttons. Great. That's not how you make money with this. And anyone who tells you otherwise is straight up lying to you. Okay, so you guys all write this down. I'm giving you the secret sauce now. You guys want to know the real reason why we did so well, why we made $2.2 million in 21 months, and I was able to sell that agency. And that was cash collected, not revenue. We left a ton of revenue on the table. Do you guys want to know what the real secret of that was? Was we were winning the game of speed to lead for our clients. Okay, so what is instant text? What problem does that solve? It solves the speed to lead problem. The average local business owner is doing what? Giving fence quotes, running a fitness class.
Yeah.
Quoting somebody else for the mortgage over the phone, if they're any good.
Yeah.
Right? Etc. They're busy, guys. They don't have time to pick up the phone right when someone decides to raise their hand from an ad. They freaking don't. Okay. And for us as marketers to expect any otherwise is just bullshit. Okay. Like I've been at this long enough. And that's that Billy Jean used to tell me is the first lesson. He's like, only work with people who have good sales processes. I found that there was like a handful on the fucking planet that have that. And he Billy's a very smart guy. He's like, I'm only going to scale with Massage MD because they have 4 different receptionists on site at any one time. And they're very highly trained. They know exactly what to do, what to say, to whom, when. They never let the phone keep ringing. If you've ever been in a Massage MD, hello, right away. That is that's like unicorn level understanding of this, how this works, guys. The average small business, you can throw a rock and hit one. They do not do this. They probably don't even understand why it's important. Okay, so you guys see the opportunity. The opportunity is not on the ad side. And if the opportunity is not on the ad side, should we spend a lot of energy on it or almost no energy on it? I love you, Sam, but almost no energy on it. And your tool just helps us do that, right? It's like, great. This can be self-serve if you want it to, client. Pick one of the ads you like.
That's right.
Push go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that no lead gets left behind. We will respond or call or whatever it is that you do to solve the speed to lead problem, the lead nurturing problem, whatever your promise is to them. 60 seconds or less, we will respond. That way that person is not left to forget or whatever. You spent money on that ad, we should respond right away. There's stats on this, guys. As a marketer, you need to know these stats. There's a study that was done about the speed to lead issue. It was called a lead response study by HubSpot and MIT, I believe. And I brought this to the high level guys' attention because one day they were just explaining to the entire room at a high level event why I was so successful. And I said, that's actually not the reason. It wasn't that I'm good at ads. I'm actually not that good at ads. Right? I understood that what we were really doing was solving the speed to lead problem. That's where the money is. That's what most small businesses are physically incapable of solving. You guys can solve it very easily now. Remember, I had a $44,000 a month Scipio bill, and I had full-time employees logging in and out because there was no agency dashboard. And that was still crushing it because our clients' competitors weren't doing any of that. Does that make sense? Cool. Yeah. So this is great, Sam. If you can drop the link to that.
It's a PDF. I'll drop it in the file section of the
Yeah, Nathan's
UpHex
right.
group
Yeah,
and
perfect.
make sure that everybody has access to it.
Word. I'd love it too. I
Got it.
always lose the link to that thing. I don't know why.
You got it.
So, but do you guys see here? Can you go back to that real quick, Sam? This is why you guys. So your solution. It doesn't matter how much time it takes you to do this, guys. But your solution now, which you can easily connect UpHex ads into high level, you can, it's obviously like these two are like peanut butter and jelly, right? These two things together create a solution that is rare for the client to have, and it's really difficult. It's like difficult for them to find even somebody who understands this stuff, let alone can do it at a price point that makes sense for them consistently, right? So if your clients have any search presence whatsoever or social presence, it's the same concept, okay? The conversation needs to go like this. There's a Google study out there, and when someone's Googling you, 80% of the time, the business goes to the person who picks up first, who responds first. Okay, so that is the game in local search. Can you guys solve that with high level? Yes. Replace their forms, miscall text back. It's like, I'm not even talking about ads right now. It's like whatever lead source they already have, just following up with the leads in a minute or less. Look at the stats, guys. Just so you know, I'm not full of shit and Sam's not full of shit. Not that you thought that in the first place. Why would you? But, right? Oh, I'll call them tomorrow. No, you won't. That person's not picking up. They already forgot who you are and, got signed up with another fence guy. Or they already found a gym who responded to them and actually gives a shit, right? Does that make sense, guys? So you need to be ready to talk about this because this is, at least conceptually, because this is the true problem that you're solving that they can't solve. Does that make sense to you guys? It's the easiest thing in the world to talk about. That makes sense, right, Mr. Client, potential client?
Yeah.
What do you do when you Google something? You want a solution now. Let's say there's shit overflowing in your house. Sorry, not sorry. It happens. I have kids. They clog it up all the time, right? Usually with inanimate objects.
They do
It's
the
just
little
like,
bastards.
yeah, like balls, like dog balls in there. There's like, I don't know, God, plastic, whatever. So, but you don't really care about who comes to solve it as much as you care about the shit stopping from overflowing in your house. So that means the first person that answers is probably going to get the business, right? This makes sense to people. It's no, again, it's buying behavior that's already established out there that you don't have to retrain the public on. Does that make sense? Or your potential clients on. All right. So lead nurturing with ads is like peanut butter and jelly. Does everybody have that clear? Guys, when we did this in our agency, it was like a fucking cheat code. Swear to God. We could put $30,000 in our client's pocket before they got the credit card bill when they paid us that 6 to 10 grand up front for 90 days worth of service. Before that 30 days passed where you get your credit card bill, we'd put like 30 grand in their pocket from just doing what I just described to you. Does that make sense? Like, do you think small business owners would say yes to that every single time, pretty much? If you could do something like
100%.
that for them. Guys, I'm telling you, even if you just charge something like 800 bucks a month, you never turn on an ad, and all you do is say, great, connect the lead sources. We're going to follow up. You're going to have more business. That is an easy conversation to have. Conceptually, they can understand it. And you get paid. It might take you an hour to connect all the lead sources, and you get paid every month. You're now like the utility bill. I just want you guys to understand what's valuable and what is understood now as replaceable out there. It's not the ads themselves. It's okay to sell ads. It's like, yeah, here's our ad suite. You can, self-serve over there. Again, have your nephew do it, whatever. I don't care. What I do care about is you getting more business. And this is our solution helps with that.
Can I
Right?
jump in here real quick, Rob?
Just, yeah, please.
I want to get tactical on 3 things.
Yeah.
The first thing is in terms of that immediate follow-up. So a lead comes in from Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. We got speed to lead. That is top of mind.
Right.
Is there a on a hot lead, so one that just came in, is there a go-to phrase that you guys like to use?
Yeah, so I actually teach all this in my free group, guys. And we have lead nurturing scripts and database reactivation scripts in there for you guys. They're free. There is a paid option, but if you guys really need them and you don't want to pay to be in the membership site part, there's a way to get them free in our group by just participating. Okay.
Right, sweet.
The short answer is yes, but it's really simple. All you have to do from then is understand, hey, they just opted in for this offer, so we're going to restate the offer, restate who we're from. So it says something. I'm just going to loosely give it to you guys. Okay. Hey, this is Rob from Rob's Awesome Gym. Insert gym name here. So you say who you are and you say what business it's from. I saw that you picked up our free 10-day pass offer from Facebook. And I've got that behind the counter here waiting for you. What's better for you to come by and pick it up tomorrow or Wednesday? Question mark. You always want to answer with a question or end with a question in that first text.
Got it.
Right? Don't get cute. Don't try to be funny. Like just fucking give them what they signed up for quickly. Like here, and then there's a specific way that we actually book them in. Even if you do not need the appointment booked, guys, psychologically, you should always book an appointment because people's commitment level skyrockets when they know that someone else is depending on them to show up. So even if your client's selling style, for example, doesn't depend on them showing up at a specific time, you still want to book an appointment to get the shows for your client. Again, this is what the client is paying you for, to get new business or to get business from the stuff they've already got. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
So that's pretty much how it goes. And then appointment reminders after that. We send appointment reminders the night before, the morning of, and an hour before the appointment, all automated.
Yeah. Then two other just commentary as I feel like it's appropriate at this point in following the lead sales cycle is number one, like nothing will help you guys retain customers and position your value than training your team and everybody to shift from a reactive support framework to a proactive support framework. Meaning the second the customer complains or the second the customer says something about, oh, hey, whatever it is, that's 2 strikes against you. Like you're already like 1 more strike and you're out. The better thing to do, just tactically speaking, layer in a secret shopper call, like within the first 2 weeks of them using you. Okay. That means somebody in your team opts into the funnel and you're going to have the text messages that come out, but people buy from people. And so phone calls should be a part of that protocol. You'll notice that there was a bunch of comments that were coming in, and the one that Rob actually responded to said automated text and phone call. Okay. This doesn't mean that we're going to let automation and software do everything. This is there are people involved. And so you want to make sure that those best practices are being followed. Going back to the Billie Jean thing, right? The reason he knew he could crush it is because marketing's job is to advance the sale, not to close the sale. You need a person involved, right? And so they had trained staff at Massage Envy that would follow up, take the ball from where it was at and just run it down the field. So you want to make sure that you're teaching that you're sharing that insight to your customers, but B, you're the one drawing attention to it early on and saying, hey, for us to maximize your guys' outcome from these campaigns, we gotta do this. And that can prompt one of 2 things. 1, better adherence to your training and your protocols, or 2, an upsell. Hey, we have a team that will do this for you. Right. And then you get, a team that will do that and you charge them a price and they report properly and you have a good exchange of value. So that would be tactic number 1, make sure that you layer in a secret shopper. Number 2, I I think that just overall there is, and I think Rob is saying, I think we're saying the same thing, is there's a lot of pressure being placed upon lead gen. Like, hey, I sell lead gen. Like, obviously UpHex is a lead gen tool, right? But what is it really? If you look at the big picture, it is a finding pool creator. Every business has a finding pool. Rob has mastered the finding pool of existing database. The job, our job collectively, is to add to that pool. The more we can add to that pool, the more our nurturing and our harvesting, the more we sow, the more we, why is it reap then sow? Whatever. The more we reap, the more we sow. Whatever. We're going to plant some, then we're going to harvest some. We want to always be planting. Okay. And so making that pool bigger, if you guys can say, hey, because if a client, for example, a client gets 100 leads in a month, if you're doing your job right, how many, and I want to actually get some, you guys tell me percentage, how many of those leads are going to convert into, just say, an appointment? Give me a number. Out of 100, how many? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 50? What is, and it's going to vary based on niche to some extent, right? Okay. Shauna says 20, 25%, 15 to 20%, 8. Okay. So let's just go off those numbers. That means 80% of the campaign was a failure. Well, if you're looking at a 1 or 2 week time frame, you're right. But what you're not giving value to, and we all have this, we all make this mistake, is you have to tell your clients, awesome, we did like our initial sales cycle, produced this, but we grew your finding pool by this amount, and our lead nurturing thing over time has this success rate. And I, in my demo calls, what I would say is our first 45 days, and there's data supporting this, we're really building the list. After that, we expect to see our overall conversion rate stabilize at 20 to 25%. Right? So it's just a mindset thing when you're looking at, you know, putting lead gen and nurturing, the peanut butter than jelly approach, making sure that you understand how these two things walk and talk together. I think it's important.
Well, the other piece of this is I also, most prolifically known for database reactivations. So you guys can have free access to that training too. And when you combined the lead nurturing portion with the ads, the lead nurturing portion is the same mechanical behavior and same tool as a reactivation. Okay. So for the people that do fall off, and they always do, like we had some campaigns that we would run cold traffic to. And, this is like a local business, guys. So they might have $500 in a month, maybe $1,000. But that's, got a radius, pretty tight radius around it, 5 miles, 10 miles, something like that, right? For a gym. And sometimes we get 70 to 90% booking ratios in from those ads, and the clients were freaking out. They're like, dude, that's insane. Right. So if we got 100 leads that month and 70 to 90 of them actually responded with and booked an appointment, that was a windfall win for our clients. Okay. And that was not uncommon. Right. It didn't happen all the time. Sometimes our booking ratio was only like 50%, but they were still like, dude, this is like, nothing has ever worked like this for us ever. Right. Like no one came in and went like, yeah, we've done a campaign like that before and it worked that well. The secret sauce, literally, guys, is what do you do with the person once that person enters your ecosystem? So after the hand raise, that is literally the key. That's where all the money is made. If you nail these things, which are much easier to nail than getting good at ads and creative at ads, then you guys can make a living regardless of the traffic source. Think about that. It's like Facebook could shut down tomorrow. Would my business be largely affected? Yes or no? I know exactly what to do with a fucking database. I will always be fine in life. Right? It's pretty nice. Like a lot of people think that I've sort of joked that like I've retired, but like there's not that many new things. It's like the cold layer of traffic of getting new eyeballs, that's always changing. Right? How many of you guys knew what TikTok was before the pandemic? Anybody?
It was
You're
music.ly, Rob. I
bored
have
out
a
of your
video
mind,
on there,
right? It's
buddy.
like crazy addictive, right? So now TikTok's another one of those top of the phone. And it was like, what was the other one? The radio, not Vine, but the
Oh yeah,
thread
fine.
threads, excuse me.
Oh,
Threads, right? Came out from Insta or whatever that, it was like everybody was on it for 10 minutes now. No one cares about it.
Clubhouse.
Like Clubhouse, there it is.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're into that, it's not going to be boring. I'll give it that. But like, that sounds awful to me beyond that,
Hmm.
like it is interesting to look at and stuff, but it's exhausting if your business depends on. Can you guys imagine if your business depended on Clubhouse? Which direction are you headed right now? It's like, it's like get off the ship or go down in flames. Which one? They're both not good options. So, this is why I think the fundamentals are so important, guys, right? When you're talking about having longevity and getting the things that you want out of your business, right? Like Sam's right. It's like if you guys have something that cannot be effed with, really, then you have optionality to help them with something like Facebook ads. Yeah. But the way that you choose to do it, you know, is you don't go out there making promises to write something custom every time. It's like for a flat fee, you get access to this library so you can click 3 buttons in 30 seconds and manage your campaign on your own. I'm here to help you. What can I answer for you? Right? And our system will take care of the rest.
Yeah.
To get you this result. Right? Our solution, our system, our software, whatever you want to call it. So, really important to understand that, like, Meta's goal is to kill media buyers. They're like, we don't care about you guys. Trust me, I met their reps. Like, there was several reps at the last summit, the high level summit, right?
Yeah.
We're sitting there and having drinks, and they're like, oh yeah, there's not much I can do. And I'm like, oh, so you're just here to party? They're like, yeah, pretty much, but I want to hear about your guys' feedback. I can't do anything about it, but they sent me here to listen to your feedback. We're like, okay, like not you, but Meta gives no, like, I stopped spending 100 grand a month on Meta. That's how big my other coaching program used to be. And like, no one emailed, called, like no one cared that I stopped spending 100 grand a month with Meta,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Like, that's how ridiculous this is. And so, when you guys think about it, it's like, how do you create an indispensable business? Make yourself or your solution indispensable. How do you do that? You got this tool and these pieces you can install once and just get paid to kind of, manage the relationship with that client from then on. But once that thing becomes awesome and working, your bill gets paid. You barely ever hear from these people. You become like the utility bill for all intents and purposes. These are the things that we're seeing in common with the most successful people that you're starting to see on the stages who are winning all these SaaSpreneur awards. That makes sense, guys? So that's how this fits in. Can't stress to you enough how you should do this until you're bloody rich. And then you can afford to get crazy and work on your next idea. But get rich first, please.
Yes.
Like, I want you to.
Create it once and sell it over and over and over and over again. The people that really crush it. In fact, I posted in our other group a screenshot from one of our users. He's like, I have one niche, one offer, and it's just me. And he's absolutely crushing it.
Cleaning up, right?
Yes.
Guys, I wouldn't have needed anybody else in my old agency if I would have had UpHex and high level. It was me and my business partner, a 9-person team at its peak, all US based, and a bunch of VAs. And we were like number 2 behind Gym Launch in the space. And we came out of nowhere. We were just like a nuclear bomb hitting the gym market. Like, people are like, I don't know who that is. But that's the reason why, right? It wasn't because we were good at what we did. It was because the second that we got a yes, we're like, cool, our team knows it's going to take about an hour to set them up. And then I had to pay them to stay to continue to do the work, but you guys don't have to do that now. It's automated. You have high
Yeah.
level, you have UpHex, right? That
Love
makes
it.
sense. The client's still getting the same benefit. That didn't change. Probably getting more benefit now,
Love it.
right?
That's
Yeah.
absolutely true. So we're here, we're here an hour. Do you want to do a Q&A, Rob, real quick, or what do you
Yeah.
want to, how do we want
Do
to
you feel
conclude?
like we covered the stuff that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of like a summary. Number one, if you guys, sometimes it's like they hear me say stuff. It's like, well, Sam's got a vested interest in saying this stuff.
Yeah.
Rob's library, I literally poured it over. I changed nothing other than the custom variables. I need to teach your team how to do custom variables. But other than that,
Yeah.
everything else, he uses the same ad copy, the same images, the same everything. So all of you people who have the knee-jerk reaction and say, oh, well, we want to change it for every customer, there are very few instances where that makes sense at all. Like there are niches where, okay, if like, for example, our buddy Joe Rare, he can't use those. He has to use, because he's in the wedding planning
Yes.
thing. So he has to show
Yeah.
those locations. Okay, that makes sense. Let's apply nuance. But
Right.
the whole point is when you find a piece of marketing and you achieve an outcome, it then becomes what? A control, a marketing control. Your job when you have a marketing control is to rinse, wash, repeat over and over and over and over and over.
You want it as close to an assembly line as possible.
Exactly. That's how, when people talk about systemizing and productizing, these words become very vague, like they lose their meaning. Tactically, that's what it means. Like
Yeah.
if you
So
want
if
an
you guys
example,
want an
that's what it means.
example, like Sam, can you real quick go back to the library? Like,
Yeah.
Our offering was one package and we only added a price difference um, based on the gym's size, basically. Like we helped, for example, well, it doesn't matter. I'll skip that story. It's not applicable here. But so when we charge what we charge, they say, well, what all do you offer? We're like, oh, we have one package that includes everything you need to get that result. Right. So to get those 35-ish new members a month, that's that's the only thing our package does. So there's only 3 things inside of it. Right. And so go ahead and click on the fitness one, Sam. Guys, if they did not fall into one of these ads, they were not a client of ours. So you do have to, you have to realize there's so much power in saying no to other opportunities. There's more power in saying no to other opportunities than there is saying yes to everything. My first agency, I don't have time to get in the whole story. My first agency was a flop. We did everything custom. It was terrible. I've never made as little money in my life for as hard work and as much stress and all that stuff. It was a total flop. And I was great at it. That was the mind fuck. I was really good at it. Right. But I got burned out. There was no money. The margins were razor thin. If we lost a client or had one bad month, that erased 5 or 6 good months of financial progress. Like, I can't do this. We had one baby. We had another on the way. It's like, fuck this noise, dude. I can make more working at McDonald's as a manager.
Yeah.
So I closed
By
that
the
thing
way,
and restarted this.
if you guys
right?
are, if any of that sounds familiar, it's because you're customizing. It's because you're doing custom work, and stop doing that right
We
now.
were only trading time for money, and we were only doing custom work. There was not one thing that was repeatable in that version of our.
And your customers are going to treat you like crap.
Yeah.
They're going to be dictating the product that you create for them.
Yeah.
Right. And it is natural for them. It's not their fault, by the way. It's natural for them because you have put them in the position of, well, I guess I have to make decisions. And Rob doesn't know my business like I know my business. So I'm gonna have to tell Rob the right decisions. And boom, you're dead. Right. Just like that.
Yes.
They're going to start treating you like you are their employee. If you go this way, they will treat you like you are their advisor.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you want.
So the conversation that we had to get good at having, and this is something that most of you will have to get good at too, is it's not 30 grand because this is productized, right? Like, do you have that budget that bigger business has? Because Your cycle bar is tiny compared to Macro Air Fans, which used to be one of my clients. Honda Dealers of San Diego, which used to be one of my clients. Do you have $50,000 to flush down the toilet this week on fucking media? No, I don't. Okay, cool. Can we like agree that that's not the same thing, that it's not the same prescription because it's not the same business, right? Whoever told you that you need custom stuff lied to you. You need sales from your marketing. You need this to be as close to direct response as possible because of your size. The smaller you are, the more direct response sales are needed from any outgoing expense. Would you agree with that? Oh yeah, of course. Even though they've flushed money down the toilet on shit that didn't get a return, right? But they will agree with that because that makes logical sense to them, right? So you have to get good at that conversation. The reason why it's only $6,000 is because we can run this starting tomorrow and start getting your results starting tomorrow. Okay, like meaning new members are going to start walking through your doors the next day or two, right? That's the upside for you, is this is going to work really well. It's not $300 because we still have to follow up with all the leads for you. Okay, so that's why it's $6,000 for the next 3 months. All right, but you're not going to have to worry about that at all. You can focus on teaching and sales and signing people up and all that good stuff. Okay, just run your business. It's what you want, right? For a fair price. Well, $6,000 is a lot. It's like, yeah, but losing out on 30 grand in the first month is expensive too. So which one would you have?
Yeah.
Like, which evil do you want?
Yeah.
You know, I can't do this for free. I'd love to, but I got kids to feed on my own. So, you know, what are we talking about here? At the end of the day, we're talking about trading $6,000 for 30 plus grand, right? So when you're able to have these conversations, guys, in that way, the thing that you have to do is just get them to arrive at the mindset that they have to do something, which they're already convinced of, for reasons we talked about at the beginning. And thing two is just that they have to view it as direct response. And the kicker is that if this doesn't work for them, you have to be prepared to answer that question. The way that we would get around it is, hey, if you pay us the $6,000, we'll know quick. This is my best objection handling script that I had. We're going to know in the first 1 or 2 days when we turn ads on or when we do a reactivation, whether your list is going to respond to this or not. If for some reason, and by the way, this has never happened to me, 535 times, this has never happened. So don't expect for this to happen, Mr. Client. But if by the end of the second day, for example, it's a total whiff, I'll refund your money. We'll both part ways. We'll save ourselves a bunch of time. I don't want your money if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Every
That's
time,
the
guys.
that is the
they sign up.
exact same quote guarantee that I have used. It's the one that they understand. It's one that's sensible. It's the one that comes off the most real. I call it the buy inside guarantee. I'm like, listen, you're not a current customer. So there's no way you can make an actual decision until you are on the inside.
Yes.
That's why we have this guarantee. You use it on the inside. If it doesn't work, whether it's 28 minutes from now or 28 days from now, if you're not happy, I'm not happy. We don't want your money. And that's true. By the way, they already have that built in. If they don't want you, they'll just do a chargeback. They've already got that built in.
Totally. Yeah.
So I couldn't agree more.
You know, the thing is that, you know, you guys got to get good at talking about it this way, right?
Yes.
Framing it in a way where it's both easy to understand and you're not talking about the tools, right? Or turning on what I call the feature brain.
Yeah.
I still talk with tons of people every week who are like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, well, did you mention high level at all? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, why the fuck did you do that?
Exactly.
Like, the guy installing my fence didn't consult me on which screwdriver, hammer, and nails he was going to purchase at Home Depot.
Yeah.
I just wanted the damn fence built, right? Does that make sense, guys? The fastest way to kill your sales is start talking about tools, features, any of that stuff.
Yep.
You need to talk about the outcome and why there's a very high chance it will work. That's the surest way to get over all the trauma that these people have had with the Yellow Pages salesmen and the like before you. It's the fastest way to get there. if it's going to happen.
And you'll know you're doing that too. If they start asking you, okay, well, what's your guarantee? Well, what's your this? Well, what's your that? That means the entire time you talked way too much about the features.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. But if you
So-
just talked about their current complexities, their current, like where they're at, and then you said, you showed them how you get the outcome, you just focus on the outcome.
Right.
They're not going to ask you any of that.
So I know this was supposed to be about Facebook ads, but I would only run Facebook ads of any kind if they understood that our system is going to provide an outcome that's worth money to them, and it's expensive for a reason, because the thing works, right? So it's not about custom ads. It's about getting you more sales, Mr. Client. And we, this was the thing we had to say to our clients who are like, well, are you just going to run the same ad that you've run to all the other locations? And we're like, yeah, that's the one that works. You want the same result that they got, don't you? I mean, yes or no? So like, why don't we try the thing that worked first for all your buddies who also own cycle bar locations in your market to see if it works. And if it does not work, then we can take a look at it. Happy to.
That's right.
In fact, you know, I don't want your money if it's not working. Remember that part? Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's run with what works. Why would you waste your money trying a bunch of different things like you're a big company when the answer is right in front of you? This thing has, it's like a nuke. You know, you hit the button and go, it's going to start getting you results that day, right? Or do you want to, you know, try 1,000 different BB guns and see which one feels like it's going to make an impact?
Yeah.
You know, like it. So when you guys get good at tying it back to the sales, it's like the result they got is because their behavior, the way that they signed up for our service, the things that we did, the things that we did not do, all those things were things that you want to in order to get to that same outcome or result. Whatever that is, more solar installations, more gym memberships. This is how you guys can sell conceptually an agency services, right? So there's nothing for them to really say after that. It's really like, it's because it's not about the technology. They can ask about it. It's like, yeah, tileable, great, whatever. Point is that you're not getting those results now. And with me using our solution, you will. And this, so do you want to get on the bus or not? Which train do you want to be on? Figuring it out train or highly predictable results train?
Yeah.
Choice is up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not pressuring you into it, right? So this is the thing that Sam and I agree on, guys. Consultative selling is the easiest, most stress-free, most effective way to sell that there is. And it can literally change your life. The key is that you can't get caught in the sales fulfillment paradox, meaning like once you get good at the sales, then you're like, oh crap, I gotta yes, yo. Now I gotta go do 18,000 hours of custom work for the client. So I'll do that again next year, hopefully.
That sounds great. By
Right,
the way.
yeah.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah. No, you want to hang up the phone and be like, cool, I got another one right behind that.
Yeah.
It's only gonna take me an hour to get that client stoked and totally worth the money. Right.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the dynamic that we're,
by the way, just
yeah.
one final thought. Well, one final thought and then a final call to action. I think we're about out of time here. The final thought is both Rob and I, so Rob's trained over 40,000 agencies. I get to see what the top producers, we're winning SaaSpreneur awards for a reason, right? I get to see what all the heavy hitters are doing. And whether Rob figured it out because somebody taught him or he figured it out on his own, everybody, without exception, we don't have one that doesn't. Everybody has moved towards this productized, simplified, very clear, bam, 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 one option thing, right?
Yep.
One clear outcome, all of them. Nobody does custom work and crushes it in our community.
Yeah.
Don't know any of them.
Yep.
So food for
Sam,
thought.
so that's a great thought to share, guys. If you just study the top SaaSpreneurs in the high level community, there's a common denominator and that's it. It's not a mystery.
That's it.
So in order for, again, it goes back to that thing. In order for you to get what you want out of this, stay in the game long term, think about what that is. How much money do you need? How much time freedom do you need? How much predictability? How much of it is a risk? Like if you're a 21-year-old dude and you're not some 45-year-old wash up like me, you're probably in a different place. But I got a lot to lose. I'm washed up, but I'm still here, baby. So
You
like,
washed up. Now, come on, we're
like, I got bills to pay. But like,
we're
I'm not going
boring.
to take as many risks if I'm the 21-year-old version of me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, guys? So you have to decide on what that is for each of you and structure your business in a way that gets you there the quickest, the easiest, like, with as little amount of complexity as possible. And we've outlined, I think, a good way to get there quickly. For most people, productized services is it's like a silver bullet. It's like the fast track if there is one in the agency world, right?
Yeah, agreed. All right. So final things here. If you want to get if you want to get Robb's database reactivation protocols, scripts, all that kind of stuff, I'll go ahead and post it one more time. It's robbailey.com/group. All right. So click on that, open in another browser. Don't leave just yet. If you want to sign up for UpHex and get instant access to all of the Robb Bailey ad library, click his robbailey.com/UpHex. You should absolutely do that to show your gratitude for him doing that. He's doing that. He did not ask me to say, hey, he didn't ask me to do this. He did not ask me to like say, hey, just throw me like affiliate commissions on any of that. He wants you guys to have this. All right. So definitely click that link. If you're going to sign up for a trial, use his link to do that. The last thing I'm going to ask you guys to do, if, there's a couple of things that I think Robb and I both value, and it is, well, there's a phrase that I like every agency owner to know, which is you never hear about all of the planes that land, right? You only hear about the crap. And the internet, social media, Facebook groups are replete with just crap.
It's
Go
unreal.
onto your personal Facebook profile today and drop a comment, tag Robb in it, say, today's training was awesome. Super psyched about Robb Bailey's library, right? Thank you, Robb. Tag him in it. You guys just show some real gratitude. And by the way, you do that, it's going to get some reach. It's going to get engagement. It'll get people to see this, but it'll also be one vote of, hey, I'm taking a step towards my business. That is a step in the right direction of your business too, right? Saying I was there, I participated, I hung out with guys and gals that are doing the same thing as me, right? Let people know what you're up to. Let people know how to win, and show Robb some love, because, when people are giving the way like he gives, like I try to give, other people in the community are doing, you never hear about all the planes that land, only the ones that crash. Let's start talking about the planes that are landing like it is actually something special, because it is.
Well, look, guys, whatever mistake that you made in the agency world, I made, and it was painful. Okay. When I helped the guys in beta of high level, I literally told Sean I thought he was crazy to keep the pricing this low, and look at what's happened. I've been wrong plenty of times, put it that way. Like I've seen enough to know that I'm going to be wrong about stuff. I thought that Sean was crazy for not having any other advertising besides affiliates. And he made that decision, and it's been fantastic, right? So it's like, I never thought that some of these things would be so impactful. And for me to experience and witness it like so closely, the real reason why I want to give so much is because I still think this is a real way for you guys to get what you want, still doing something good out there for someone else, and being a key component of helping them grow their business as well. But you guys can make a big impact for yourselves and your family while still doing good in the world. Like, the local business marketplace is at least 10 years behind usually in like technology and strategies.
Yeah.
Most of the people that I grew up with were small business owners, if they weren't in the military. That's just like the way that I grew up. So my dad and all his buddies were all construction, construction guys, craftsmen. So like, I understand what the real struggles of small business are. And, there's people who are so talented. My dad was this way, so super talented at building a house, doing concrete work. Like he built these like beautiful things. He was a terrible business person. He needed all the help he could get. Right? Like how many of you guys know someone like that? Like they can craft, they can sculpt David, but they can't pick up the phone to save their life. They can't operate a website. They don't understand sales, like whatever it is for them. I still think that that's a great business model, and you can get the scale that you need out of it to really make it like ridiculous, like 6 figures a month potential of your take home, which will make you wealthy. That's totally reasonable to do now if you help enough of these people, right? I think there's like 33 million small businesses just in the US. So, I made a multi-million-dollar business out of just helping 500 and change of them, right? It doesn't take that many. And there's enough businesses for us all to help. So that's not the issue. Promise.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So
All right,
anyway,
guys. The Robb Bailey ad library template is live inside the template library. You click on template library and you will now see the Robb Bailey templates. They are there live. Okay. So bam, bam. Thank you, Robb.